We're finally to the end of these essential qualities of a leader, but before we get into this last one, let me make just a couple of remarks about the last 8 weeks altogether. I trust and I hope that it's been beneficial to you to go through everything that we have, and I want to encourage you, if you really want the course or any of these courses in Project Equip to really affect you and influence you, you can't just get through the work for a week and then forget it even exists and then move on and just kind of rush through it. The whole goal, I know, of every instructor and of Project Equip itself is to give you resources that you can go back to and refer back to and hopefully use in so many ways in your ministry and in your leadership. But a course such as this in Biblical Leadership 1, I pray that you're taking the time to go back regularly and say, let me review this and see how everything has been building one week on the next, and that you're gaining something from this. These essential qualities of a leader, I think, are things that will go with you the rest of your life and the rest of your ministry. Hopefully you can impart them to other people. And we've gone through several things now. We've gone through all of these different essential qualities, and we come up to this last one. And the last one kind of wraps it all together. And it is a rare commodity anymore, it seems, in the world that you and I live in, this thing called gratitude. A truly effective leader understands the power of gratitude, the value of gratitude. Let's define that. How would you define it for the purpose of this course? I'm going to say it's an attitude of thankfulness that becomes a way of life. It's not just a selective thank you for this, thank you for that, but it is a thankfulness that becomes a way of life to you, that it becomes second nature to you to live with gratitude. You know, there are some people in the world and in leadership that are just natural encouragers. I enjoy being around them. I can't say that that's always my strong suit. I try to be an encourager. I try to uplift. But there are some people it just comes very naturally to. They're always building you up, always making you feel better about yourself, always lifting you up. That's an incredible characteristic to have. But any of us, no matter what our strengths and weaknesses are, we can develop an attitude of thankfulness that becomes a way of life. The Bible tells us that in the last days that men would be unholy, unthankful. So they'd be unthankful. And I think we've reached that day where people really, even if they say thank you, there's not a whole lot of thought behind it. It's more of just, I got to say thank you because, but do you really stop and think, am I really thankful for what this person did? Do I really have a genuine attitude of gratitude for what people do for me, for the opportunities that are given to me, for the blessings that God gives me? If we're not thankful to people, if we don't express gratitude to people, I'm going to say there's a good chance you don't give a whole lot of thankfulness to God either. There's not a lot of gratitude to God. You look around you, and this younger generation, and I won't put a term on it, a lot call it millennial or whatever you want to call it, or whatever the newest generation is, but for the last several generations, probably from Generation X onward, there has been a declining sense of gratitude in every generation. It's become a generation that almost expects it just to happen, expects things just to be handed to them, expects things just to be given to them, for them to be waited on, catered to, given to. And that is a detriment to effective leadership in the church. Now, I'm not talking about just in the world in general either. You see it in the apostolic church. This lack of gratitude that used to be there, this declining sense of truly being thankful for everything that you've been given and everything that you have in your life. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, in everything give thanks. In everything give thanks. I love scriptures like this, and sometimes I hate scriptures like this. I love it because it doesn't make any exceptions. It says in everything. That's the same reason I hate scriptures like this. It doesn't give me an exception to not be thankful. It says, in everything, give thanks. Now notice, and you've heard this, I'm sure, before, it doesn't say to give thanks for everything, because I'll be honest with you, there's some things in life that I'm not thankful for. But I can be thankful in those things that God is still God, that He's still blessing me. He's going to see me through the dark hours. He's going to take me through the valley. I may not like what's happening to me, but I can still be thankful in those things. It said, in everything, be thankful. Give thanks. Excuse me, we could probably couple that with Paul when he said, I have learned in whatsoever state I am in, therewith to be content. Part of the reason that this world is unthankful is they're not content with what they have. They always want more. Always want something new. Always want something better. Always want more things. It's hard to be thankful when you're always looking to get something else. You know, if you celebrate Christmas and you watch kids on Christmas Day, a lot of them are thankful for about 2 minutes. Then they want to know what else they got. Or they complain, well, you got me the wrong color, or that's not what I wanted. You just make say, wait a second, why can't you just be thankful for what you have? As a leader, you're going to deal with a lot of people that are not thankful. They're not going to express that thanks. You know, pastors and preachers and ministers and leaders usually are at the bottom end of the list for true gratitude to be expressed to them many times. You know, you give of yourself, you sacrifice, you do this, it's what you do. And sometimes it becomes a mindset of, well, that's just what they're supposed to do. Now, I realize Jesus, he said, what thanks do you get for doing what's expected of you? So yes, we minister, we lead, we preach, we teach. That's what we're supposed to do. But you couple that with a scripture that says, give honor where honor is due. That let them that rule well be counted worthy of double honor. I want to bring into that the law of the harvest, that you reap what you sow. And if you're not getting the gratitude that you think you ought to get as a leader, when's the last time you sowed into the field of gratitude? When's the last time you were complimentary of what somebody else did? When's the last time you expressed true appreciation for the effort that they put forth? You as a leader, you deserve gratitude. You deserve the accolades that go with being an effective leader. But it only comes to you if you really develop gratitude in your life. So I'm not trying to talk here about how you get gratitude. I'm talking more about how you give gratitude, how you express it, and how you make it known. As a leader, you should always be seeking ways to give gratitude. Not false platitudes, not empty, hollow words. People can tell when you're sincere and when you're not. But it should be sincere thanks, sincere gratitude that's given. You know, for instance, some of you in this course, I don't know all of your ages. I don't know where you're at in life. Some of you will be younger. Some will be, young adult age. Some of you will be young married. Some middle age, maybe older. But those of you that are raising young people, you may have someone in the student ministry of your local church, but when's the last time you went to your student minister and even slipped them a $20 gift card and said, thank you for the effort you put forth on behalf of my teenager, my young person? Because I was a youth minister long enough to know that when you go out to eat, you're going to take money out of your own pocket. If you make a trip somewhere, you always have one or two kids that can't afford to make the trip. And a lot of times it's the youth pastor and his wife taking money out of their pocket to make it happen. If you have kids in Sunday school or in the educational part of your church structure, how often do you go to their teachers that corral them every week for 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long they've got those kids? When's the last time you went to that teacher and said, I want you to know how much I appreciate your sacrifice, your effort, all that you do for the kingdom? Get them a $20 Walmart gift card every now and then. Because again, I don't know of any teacher worth their salt in a church setting that hasn't taken money out of their own pocket to buy supplies, to buy snacks, to do things for kids that go out of their way. But they need that gratitude expressed to them, not just from the pastor in the pulpit, so thank you to all of our staff, but you as a parent, you as a member of the church, even if you don't have kids, you ought to be thankful that they're helping to train those kids and to bring them up in what God needs them to be. But you can express gratitude in those ways. You ever been in a church service where the preacher has preached, but then, maybe the altar call is given and it's the song at the altar call that really moves you? Or you've been in a worship service, you show up and you really need God to touch you. And all of a sudden, the worship team goes to that one song that something just breaks in you and you're able to connect with God, whether it's in a shout of victory or in the depth of weeping and brokenness. But it happened because somebody was sensitive, somebody surrendered their talent and ability. You put musicians and singers on a platform in a lot of church services, they're up there for about 70% of the service, singing, leading, playing, giving of themselves. But when's the last time you made your way to one of them after church and said, thank you for what you do? Thank you for the sacrifice you make. Go to the music director of the church. Thank you for being sensitive to what you've done, or for what you've done and how you respond to the Spirit of the Lord to help create an atmosphere where people like me can be blessed. Many times sound people and media people are the most unsung heroes in the building. They keep everything flashing on the screen. They keep everything sounding right. They end up getting more dirty looks than they do gratitude. If the sound's off, they'll turn around real quick. Turn it up, turn it down. Move the slide forward. Didn't you see that typo? You know, people don't mind throwing the criticisms out there, but every now and then it's good to go by and let them know, hey, I know you have to put a lot of time into this. Thank you for the time and the effort that you put in this. Just expressing sincere gratitude. In everything, give thanks. For this is the will of God. You want to do the will of God? Here it is. You've been praying about doing the will of God? Give thanks. That's the will of God. He said, if you can develop this attitude, you're going to go a whole lot farther in life and be a whole lot more effective. In everything, give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. He said his will for you is give thanks all the time. Can you imagine how much your world, your outlook, your mindset would change? How much it would be transformed if you would really learn to give thanks in all things? Had a flat tire, should I give thanks? Yes. Because that flat tire may have slowed you down 30 minutes and kept you from having a major accident. You never know. Well, I got cancer. Why should I give God thanks for cancer? Well, maybe it's because of that disease ravaging your body, you're going to meet doctors and therapists and medical people that you would never meet any other way. And you ought to thank God for another opportunity to share the gospel with somebody. When you develop this attitude of gratitude, it does become a way of life. You're constantly looking for ways to express gratitude in every situation that you're in. Often when I talk about this with church leadership teams, I talk about, at this point, I'll say, I'd like to call you to 30 days of prayer and fasting. And I'll do that for the purposes of this course also. If you're a student in this course, I'd like for you to go to 30 days of prayer and fasting after you've watched this lecture. But now take a deep breath. I'm not asking you to give up food or drink at all. Don't have to give up anything to eat or drink. So, thank God. I don't know if I can go 30 minutes, let alone 30 days. But to 30 days of prayer and fasting, well then, what are you talking about? If you're saying give up, 30 days of prayer and fasting, what are you talking about? I think if we would go into 30 days and say, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm fasting negativity. I'm fasting criticism. I'm fasting people coming and gossiping to me or backbiting to me, because those things are not conducive to gratitude. In fact, they destroy gratitude. So if you're really wanting to develop gratitude in your life, how about for 30 days, you take away everything from your life that would take away from gratitude being expressed. Get rid of negative thinking, get rid of complaining, get rid of griping, no criticism. Somebody comes around complaining to you, just say, hey, whoa, I'm not eating that this month. Somebody comes around wanting to talk about somebody else, says, oh, sorry, that's not on my diet. You have to find somebody else. I'm not interested. But get rid of anything that takes away from gratitude being in your attitude. Now, when you fast food and drink, you get rid of food and water. You get rid of those things that help the physical body. You should always replace it with something spiritual. That's what you do during lunch. Go pray. Go read the Word of God. So if we're going to fast these things of negativity and criticism and gossip and backbiting, then let's replace it with things that build gratitude. What if for the next 30 days you find someone different every day to express gratitude to? Somebody different in your church that does something that you can express some gratitude to. It may be, the person who cleans the church. A gift card to a restaurant for them, because again, nobody thinks much about the person that cleans the church unless it's not clean. Unless there's not toilet paper or paper towels in the bathroom, then we want to find them. But what if during the next 30 days of you fasting all these things, you would replace it with some gratitude? You can't buy a gift for somebody every day, but sometimes a text, a phone call, a personal touch at church, really looking them in the eye and say, I want you to know how much I appreciate what you do. That pastor or preacher that preached that word that blessed you on Sunday, what about Tuesday or Wednesday? Follow that up and say, Pastor, I just want you to know I'm still thinking on what you said in Sunday service. That means the world to a minister. Anything that you can do to express gratitude can make a world of difference. And ultimately, after 30 days, if you'll do this consistently, it takes 30 days to form a new habit. It will become a habit to you, and you will find yourself having an attitude of thankfulness that becomes a way of life to you. God bless you. Let God do great things through you.